Everywhere we go, people wanna know who we are. So we tell them this is mighty, mighty.
Good evening, and welcome back to another edition of MyT Sports Podcast. I am your host, the one and only Talent T. Taylor, and the D is for Doma. Woo! It is another one of those lovely Florida evenings. Actually, I must admit, the AC is broken in Mike's T studio. So we feeling the heat. It's 78 degrees out there. It's March 10th. Before we get started, let's go ahead and just say a special happy Mother's Day. Happy belated Mother's Day. Since this is the first show after Mother's Day, happy Mother's Day to all mothers out there.
Ain't a woman alive that can take my mama's place.
So today, we got a wonderful show for you today. We have what's gonna be NFL talk. Finally get that draft breakdown. We get to talk about the bowl game that's coming up for the UFF, the fights over the weekend, the potential fights yet to come, and have y'all been catching these games lately? Whew. But you know what I say, regardless of the time and regardless of the weather, it's always a good time to talk some sports. So let's start talking. Woo! Yeah, man. This has been a crazy week. Well, I should say a crazy week. An exciting week for us. So, as we wait for as this week breaks down and we build up to it, we're just going to get right into it. We're not going to hold it off any longer. Just what everybody wants to talk about, what I want to talk about, what you want to talk about.
Matter of fact, 305.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're thinking. Switch it up on us. You're damn right I did. You guys were getting comfortable out there. So, of course, I gotta throw a little shock to your sister. And in a time like today, why wouldn't you want to know what's going on in your local community? So let's just go start. This past weekend, May 7th, in the United Football Federation of America, they had their conference championship game. Now, playing in the UFF Bowl, or conference bowl game, or let's put it this way, they had their UFF Conference Bowl game to see who's going to play in the UFF Bowl game. For the away team, we had the Broward County Barracudas. For the home, and they were taking on the undefeated, reigning defending UFF champion, the Hollywood Browns. Now, this happened. This is gonna now be their third, or what's considered now their third matchup for the season, and ironically, this is actually gonna be like their fourth matchup within the last calendar year. The Hollywood Browns and the Broward County Barracudas have history going all the way as far back as last year. In last year's UFF Bowl game, the Hollywood Browns and the Broward County Barracudas went toe-to-toe, went head-to-head. And it wasn't until a late fourth quarter rally that helped the Browns squeak ahead. It's probably the only reason why we're sitting here today calling the Browns your undisputed champion versus the Broward County Barracudas. Now, so far this year, things haven't quite worked out the same exact way for the Barracudas as they have the Browns. While the Barracudas finish out their season 7-3, the Browns win a perfect, unblemished 10-0. But like I said, this is the conference championship game, and the Broward County Barracudas have won every single game since the last time these two teams have met. So the Broward County Barracudas are not only on a winning streak, but they are out for revenge to prove that not only was this year's losses to the Browns a fluke, but also last year's championship loss to the Browns was also a fluke. So the Browns started off quick, and as you can quickly see that there was no more hangover. They weren't rusty anymore from being off for 2-3 weeks, and you can see that their quarterback knew that he wouldn't be coming out of this game whatsoever, and that must have been the biggest thing in the world for number 16 Bryce Schaefer's confidence. Very quickly, very quickly, right? Bryce hooks up with number 9 Clarence Coleman, and we're talking about early into their first scoring drive. This is for a 19-yard pickup. Now, in between a couple of incompletions, they get 4 solid runs, totaling for what is this? About 41 yards from their running back, number 1, DeAndre Stringer. Now, his 4 runs gets them in scoring position. And then, bam! We get a quarterback keeper. Number 16, Bryce Schaefer, runs it in for a 2-yard run. And the Browns go up 8-0. The quarter will remain there, and the first quarter would end with the Browns up 8 and the Barracudas with nothing, 0. And the second quarter would prove to be more Browns dominance. Schaefer would hook up with number 8.
Thomas Flowers, receiver, number 8.
For a 21-yard touchdown. Flowers would end his whole entire night with a total of 65 yards and that 1 touchdown. Now, the backup quarterback actually did get involved. And for his one and only play, he ran it in for a 5-yard touchdown. Which now put the Browns up 22-0 going into the half. As now they have a touchdown ran in by their starting quarterback, Bryce Schaefer. They have a touchdown by their backup quarterback, number 13, Jarvis Smith. And they have a touchdown
Thomas
by
Flowers,
their
receiver, number 8.
by Thomas Flo Flowers, number 8, wide receiver. Now, the Browns will go into the half, that's it, not only up 22-0, but also penalty-free. They basically had a blemish-free first half, which is not the same exact thing that you can say for their opponent that was riddled with penalties all over the place, which is probably why you heard players from the Barracudas arguing at half. So the third quarter starts, and the Browns start off the half like a team that was up by 22 points. And the Barracudas found a soft spot very early in the slot and took advantage. And 3 identical plays later, they get it in for a touchdown. This touchdown must have been the exact thing that was needed for the Browns to once again awaken themselves. They stopped the extra point, and they will go on to have basically just not allow any more points for that quarter, but also not score any more points for that quarter. The Browns go into the fourth quarter up 22-26, and their defense maintained dominance, forcing 3 interceptions, 2 alone by number 11 linebacker Dion Lewis. I find that to be a very good name for a football player. It combines one of the greatest cornerbacks with one of the greatest linebackers, and 2 of my favorite players. And there was a fumble. The pace of the game was controlled by their star running back, number 1, DeAndre Stringer, who racked up 115 yards from scrimmage. That will be exactly enough for the Browns to stay and win, and the game would end. Browns 22, Barracudas 6. The leading stat goers, but the leaders for the team was obviously number 16 quarterback Bryce Schaefer. He went 11 for 18, 1 passing touchdown, 1 running touchdown, and he also threw it for an interception. The leading receivers,
Thomas Flowers, receiver, number 8.
Flo had 65 yards and 1 touchdown. Following right behind him, but coming in,
Buddha, number 7, slot receiver and punter.
He put up 32 yards. And let's not forget,
Clarence Coleman, number 9, wide receiver / kicker.
And he put up 26 yards. So, altogether, this is where the majority of the Browns' passing threat came from. And these boys came through, and they delivered, and they helped their team get a victory. Now, talking about being a teammate or a team, you know, I'm gonna have to say it. Dwayne Wade is kind of a dick. Yeah. Once again, there it goes. I craped all over the place. Pardon my parlez-vous français. But Dwayne Wade is kind of a dick. And I'm gonna tell you, listen. And you know what? The best way I could describe it is that Dwayne Wade has some Kanye in him, where he gets these petulant, childish moments where instead of just manning up to it or just admitting wrong or whatever, his initial response is to lie or do this odd cover up when everybody sees your actions. As I taste some more of that Publix lemonade, right? And this is not the first time that Dwayne Wade done it. Like I said, Dwayne Wade has these little incidences that you may not notice all the time, but they happen. Hey, I think it's like his rookie or sophomore season versus the Knicks, without being established or being anybody in the league, he's over here talking trash to the Knicks fans. Fast forward a little bit later, and he is still like dunking and playing ferociously on like a 20-something blowout versus a team. Fast forward this a little bit later, and he is over here making fun of Dirk Nowitzki's being sick, but then lying about it, and then being shut up about it as Dirk Nowitzki comes back and busts his ass. And then now we have this thing with the flag. Listen, Dwayne Wade, just man up and stop it. Stop doing what you're doing and just man up. Like, it is not becoming of you. You're better than that. Actually, like you're a player. But like I said, you got some Kanye Kardashian tendencies to you sometimes, and maybe it's because that you're here in South Beach and you're married to Gabrielle Union. But you know what? You felt this entitled for a while. We're gonna talk about him a little bit more when we come back from these commercials.
Tickle. Tired of being ripped off by those other guys? Then head down to Multivest Games and get the value you deserve. Multivest. Find them at 830 183rd Street, Miami Gardens, Florida, 33169. Located just 5 minutes from Tootsie's and Sun Life Stadium in the plaza across from Snappers. Multivest Games. Save more, play more.
And we are back to the MyT Sports Podcast. Once again, I am your host, Talon T. Taylor, and the T is for terrific. Yeah, you should be listening still either on SoundCloud or TuneIn Radio, and we thank you as this next segment here is brought to you by Multivest Games. This is the Multivest Game event of the weekend, where in a time where the biggest star of the sport at the time is now retired, we get now what could possibly be the next biggest thing in boxing, and that is Mexican sensation and superstar Nah, I'm joking. I know you're about to throw your phone or whatever you're listening to across Lewis. That is. All right, seriously, but Mexican sensation Canelo Alvarez versus Khan. And the fight was kind of was probably exactly what could have been expected. Canelo was just a little bit too big for Khan, and Khan has the same jaw that Khan has always had. And Khan did exactly what Khan was gonna have to do to beat Canelo. That was be fast, be a little bit quicker to the punches, punch in volumes, and try to keep him at bay. Utilize your jab, and he did that for the most part. It's just that when you're really that outsized and you aren't known for being the best taker of punches, and you're fighting a guy that's bigger than you, that is known to put a couple of people to sleep, and likes to give people the night. Now let's give him a straight night. You know what I mean, Mr. Sandman? Then it's almost to be expected what this outcome was, and we kind of got both, which you would figure, like, if it was a dominant Canelo fight, then it probably would have earned it very early, first 3 rounds. And if this wasn't going to be a fight that truly Khan was going to dominate and possibly win, we probably figured this was going to go the distance, somewhere in the like 10, 11, 12th round, most likely. But what we got was that perfect breed of fight. We got Khan doing what he should have did to try to keep the distance, but like I said, Canelo just being a little bit too big and being able to close that distance, take a few punches, and comes in there with that haymaker of his, catches Khan on the flush on the jaw, and down goes Khan. Next thing you know, it's night. He's on the ground counting ponies. Canelo's over there doing an interview, and Khan's trying to figure out what the hell just happened. So now it brings up another interesting possible fight, which is Triple G versus Canelo Alvarez. And this may also be another thing where Canelo's reaching for somebody a little bit too big for him. So it's going to be interesting to see if this is a fight that possibly get done, because Triple G may be too big for Canelo Alvarez. And while we're talking about, while we're on this subject, did you hear about MMM from TMT talking about fighting CMG possibly in the MMA? Did you hear about this? So let me back up for you. Let me back up for you just in case you're not quite catching what I'm hearing. What I'm saying. Bring it back. Tell the DJ bring it back. Tell the DJ bring it back. So, Money Mayweather is questioned about possibly fighting Conor McGregor in some kind of fight. And we don't know if it's a MMA fight, don't know if it's a boxing fight. We just know that that Mayweather, in Mayweather fashion, decides to entertain the idea. An idea that I think is, it's something that when said always sparks more interest than when thought about. It's one of them things that sounds sexy. Like, it's like, put it this way, a boxer and an MMA fighter fighting, like the two of the top guys fighting on either platform, is always that cute girl in the club, you know what I mean, while you're drunk and the lights are off. And then you turn the lights on, you're like, yeah, this is a bad idea. And when I turn the lights on, I mean that you rolled over in bed, pulled the sheets back, turned the lights off, and then realized, this was really a bad idea. and we've seen this happen a couple of times before. Like, didn't some guy, Tony or something like that, come and fight in an MMA fight? Because you have to understand what's gonna happen. If I don't think Conor McGregor has the kind of boxing skills to go up against Money Mayweather. So what happened is that Money Mayweather is going to get one of the few knockouts that he's ever had in his career, probably, if he fights him. And it's not going to say anything more for Mayweather's career. It's not going to add to. It's not going to take away from it. It's just going to be some gimmicky blip. Conor McGregor is going to be the same exact thing. Conor McGregor, if he fights Floyd Money Mayweather in an MMA fight, it's going to be some gimmicky thing, because we know what's going to happen every single time we've seen this happen. When a guy can't. When a person in MMA can only box or only has a boxing discipline and they come into MMA, you get taken down and wrestled to the floor and you're forced to submit. You get the night. You get the night. And the last thing Mayweather wants is to be sitting on his back, looking like Holly Holmes, whatever, swinging that air while he's gasping for air. You don't want the night, the clap off. But that doesn't mean that Mayweather may not be in for another fight. And that is more likely to happen probably than anything else. And the only reason I can possibly say this, right? Only reason I'm even saying this is because very recently, Money Mayweather has patented. There we go. I haven't even been sipping the happy juice yet. Like, that's the problem. I'm sipping that lemonade. I was sipping that Publix lemonade. Listen, I went to the organic market, whatever they call it, the veggie market, the overpriced market. I found some really good stuff, awesome stuff. Great stuff that I like. The one Lucky's, the one that you could buy a beer and drink a beer buy a beer or wine and drink while you shop, which I think should never happen because I did some of that this weekend and wow, like I did it for regular grocery shopping and I did it for Mother's Day shopping. So, Money Mayweather has patented two things: TMT 50, Team Money Team 50, TME 50. Team Money Enterprise, I don't know what the fuck. Parlez-vous Francais. I keep craping all over the place, don't I? I guess today's a crapey kind of day. I guess today is just a crapey kind of day. And talking about crepe, or as we say in America, crap. Right? Or even people speaking recklessly. Did you hear this story about A-Rod calling Big Papi beloved everywhere? And I'm just looking at this like, this is really words of praise from one cheating scumbag loser to another cheating scumbag loser about another scumbag cheating loser. So you know what? Since we've been creeping all over the place today, then you know what? Fuck out of here. Nobody, like, first of all, who cares about his no good, lying, cheating, hired talent that never performed ever to his hype? Like, he might as well be LeBron, but we're not gonna go there. And like, see, like put it this way, like, this is A-Rod, a Yankees fan, talking about a Boston Red Sox fan, first of all. Like, words like this doesn't happen from true Yankees fans, not while they're still in Yankees uniform, as we saw from Derek Jeter, who you still fail to learn lessons from, even though you've been with him for 10 freaking years now. But no, because you've been too busy jealous of the man. Only the greatest baseball player ever. Like this man is an icon. Like, you over there trying to be fed popcorn, and he's over there just running through brawls like they were Niagara Falls. So I can understand this. Like, I really don't get this. Like, I hear, like, I don't like A-Rod. Like, I don't know if you've been able to tell from the previous podcast or how I've been describing him today. Right? And I don't like Big Papi. I don't like anything about Boston Red Sox. So when it comes to the lying cheaters and thieveries of the game, I don't have to like those guys either, because that's what he is. He's a lying, cheating, no good scumbag. So I can understand, like, Boston Red Sox fans needing to cling on to a guy like Big Papi. Like, they need the scumbag, loser, cheater guy. Like, they need that guy because they don't know what winning is. So this guy has brought us some championships, and they'll take it regardless of how they get it. Whether hook or crook. They personally do not care. Yankees, we should have higher standards than that, because I'm sorry, out of the 27 championships that we got, A-Rod was responsible for how many? Okay then, because he wasn't responsible for any of them. He just happened to be on one team that won one. Since this hired gun has been there, he has not done his job to win us championships. The only thing he has done is try to sue the franchise because he wanted to lie about his steroid use. So, Alex Rodriguez and Big Papi can keep each other and have all the butt sex that they want and arrive in each other's mouths and call it steroids all they want. I don't like Big Papi. I don't like A-Rod. They're both scum. They could both go to hell. And I hope neither one of them ever gets into the Hall of Fame. And while we're talking about Hall of Fame, is Chris Bosh a Hall of Famer? We'll get back into that a little bit more when we come back from this commercial.
They didn't join this team to win championships. or become famous. They join because there is important work to be done, and only some able to do it. They are brighter, better educated, led, and equipped than any team in history. They are doctors, lawyers, engineers, technologists, and combat troops, all prepared for whatever comes their way. You'll find them where the lights don't flash, and the only contract they sign is with themselves and their country. One day, they may be asked what they did to make a difference in this world, and they can respond, "I became a soldier."
And we are back, and welcome back to not another edition, but welcome back to the Mighty Sports Minute. Again, I'm still Talent T. Taylor, your host. And the T this time is for tyrant. Yes. You should still be listening on SoundCloud or TuneIn Radio. Again, once again, I always have to thank you guys for the listeners that I have, for the listeners that I'm gonna get, for the people testing it out, for the people hearing for the first time. Welcome. This is one veteran's perspective of sports. Like, as I emerge myself into an industry that I can only say that I have a passion for just as much as I had for the military. And it's probably the only thing that I've found in the last 10 years that helps bring meaning to what I do, or helps like be purposeful. Like, it's really odd, like, when you separate from the military, that you don't realize, or there may have been points where you may not have, or take it for granted, of how much of a meaningful job that you had, and how much of that you really took pride in, and finding something meaningful again. And I don't know if it's trying to find something meaningful on that level, or just trying to find something meaningful, period. It becomes difficult, and there's this hole that's there. And where am I going? I forgot where I was going. And this fills this. This helps fill those holes of meaningless that comes from every other regular work that I'm currently doing, like in the office, that just feels like empty black holes of nothingness and just meaningless, mundane, like leading to nothing work. Just soul sucking, body emptying, happiness depleting work. So I have to get out of there. Whew, sorry about that. So I have to get out of there, and we get in here. So like I said, I am still your host, Talent T. Taylor, and the T is for tyrant. And talking about tyrants and figures and guys that are on top of their game, or on top of their industry, their sport, and should be respected, or should I say given the liberty, but definitely the recognition for the kind of representative that they have been for their sport, because that's what every sport looks for, right? They look for that franchise player that they can use to be the face of their sport. For baseball, you know, it's been Ken Griffey Jr. It's been Derek Jeter. Right now, I believe it's the Bryce Harpers, and you know, we've had Clemens and what was that guy's name? That's that 6'7" guy that used to pitch for Seattle. Oh man, I can't remember his name all of a sudden. Something Johnson, Rod Johnson, something like that. So hockey has had Ken Griffey Jr. You know, not Ken Griffey Jr. Sorry, Wayne Gretzky. at one point in time, you know, I'm dating it very much so dating it. You know, I don't know if not Kirchhoff, but some guy that starts with a K, if he's ever been one of the faces of hockey. You know, so every sport has had their faces. Basketball has had Michael Jordan, Magic. Let's go. Magic, Michael Jordan, led into Kobe. And it seems that Kobe has left at the perfect time to hand it over into Curry. And I know probably what you're thinking, right? That, listen, LeBron has to be in there somewhere. Right? I can't be that disrespectful to LeBron just to completely leave him out of dominating an era. And you'd be wrong, because obviously you haven't been paying attention, but you are right. Even though I don't believe that LeBron has truly had an era, because it was real, he was the most talented guy, yeah, but I mean, was it really the LeBron era? Because because if we're gonna call this LeBron era, let's just go on and say it. LeBron is like Oprah, and it's not because he's black, not because he's on TV, and it's not because he's probably gonna be a billionaire pretty soon. It's not because of any of those reasons. It's because if you've ever been on the Oprah show, you know how generous Oprah is. And if LeBron is gonna have an era, then it's gonna be considered really the era of generosity, where he just opened everybody. He's like, you get a ring, you get a ring, you get a ring, everybody gets a ring. I mean, think about it. Seriously. I mean, Magic and Bird was going back at it. That was 4 and 5 apiece. They weren't really sharing a lot. Isaiah squeaked one in there. Michael wasn't really sharing during his time. He took some time off and let Akeem get a couple. And then we had Kobe and them dominate for 5. Tim Duncan, and just like how Magic shared his time period with Bird, Kobe shared his with Tim Duncan. Well, Kobe and Shaq shared his with Tim Duncan, and they shared an era. And then we have the supposed LeBron era, right? Where since this time, Miami. Well, he was part of the Miami team, but Miami got a ring. Kobe pulled out a couple more rings. Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen win their first ring ever. San Antonio gets a couple more rings. Dallas gets their first championship ever. And Golden State gets a ring. I'm sorry? Where's LeBron's era? LeBron's era is starting to look like Tracy McGrady's era with 2 rings. That's all I'm saying. And a couple more years because of technology. And conditioning and eating right and all this other stuff. But let's get serious for a while. For a little bit. Even not to say that I wasn't serious. But let's just get back on track. This year, honestly, for LeBron has has to be the year where he's going in with probably the least amount of pressure ever. He's completely going in here kind of underneath the radar, because everybody has already deemed either San Antonio or Golden State Warriors the champion if any one of them come out the West. Nobody has given LeBron James' team a chance. While they have slowly, the team has been clicking at the right moment, right at the end of the season, right in the beginning, right through these first rounds of the playoffs. They're finally looking focused. They're looking engaged. They found their right movement. They've recovered from the coaching change in the middle of the season. They look healthy, which is a major thing, which is something they're not going to be able to lean on again this year and be able to say, oh, we weren't healthy. Oh, this and that came up. that's not going to be an opportunity. They look confident, and that may be one of the most dangerous things, because that confidence can probably boost them up. And when we're talking about things are also shaping up for them, just how things kind of shaped up for Golden State and Stephen Curry and the Golden State Warriors last year. We have the one team that probably everybody thought can possibly beat Miami and that possibly beat Cleveland, which is Miami. They lose to Hassan Whiteside, and then over in the West, where we said, we think that only Golden State and San Antonio can possibly beat, or could beat could beat the Cleveland Cavaliers and LeBron James. We forget very quickly of how much trouble that the San Antonio Spurs have with Oklahoma City's athleticism and those two guys. And the San Antonio Spurs over there are like,
oh man, not again.
As now, initially when I was going to come out and do this podcast originally, it was going to be yesterday. Once again, another day, another time that I am so happy I waited that one extra day to give this to you because of what we caught. So Oklahoma City has now officially gone up 3-2 on San Antonio. And Stephen Curry even has a bum knee-ish. And the Cleveland Cavaliers still aren't the favorites. And that's because the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to do what we always expect them to do. Like, they're supposed to look good leading up to the Eastern Conference Finals. This is where LeBron James should always be, because he is that guy that can do this every single time. So, if you didn't catch all that, right? All really what happened is that the Cavs swept the Hawks. As the Hawks just don't have it again. As the Hawks are also good for doing what they do, make it into the second round of the playoffs. Miami is playing Toronto without Hassan Whiteside. And it took literally every sweat an ounce of energy in Dwayne Wade's body for them to tie that series up 2-2. And you know what's bad? Like, I'm glad they did. Because, like I said, nobody wants to see Cleveland and Toronto. Because basically, if we see Cleveland and Toronto, you might as well grab a blanket, go find your boo, and go snuggle up and take a nap for a week. Because the Cleveland Cavaliers will probably sweep Toronto as well. Toronto, in any way, shape, or form, due to Miami's injuries and inefficiencies, have managed to come away from this game. We know that they have no shot whatsoever. Not even a one-game shot against Cleveland. Now, if they win one game, I apologize. I am surprised. And as I stated initially, this was supposed to come out yesterday. And Golden State was up 2-1 last night against Portland. Doubtful about his knee, questionable about his knee, finally having to come in because his team is down 2-16 and halfway through the first quarter. How fast do you want this? Stephen Curry comes in halfway through in the first quarter with just about 6 minutes left. Stephen Curry looks a little bit shaky. He struggles making about his first 5 shots. Goes into the second quarter, and Golden State Warriors are still down. Leading into about 3 to 4 minutes leading into the half. The Golden State Warriors close the gap back, get within about 3 to 4 points, but Portland opens back up the lead, and they go back into the half with leading into about 10 points. Also, not to mention Sean Livingston, their backup the point guard that is supposed to be taking up for Stephen Curry, is ejected for the game because he had a technical. But you know what he really should have been doing? He should have been trying to figure out what he wanted to do on a Friday. He should have stopped thinking. He should have stopped thinking. He should have just found DJ Scepter at O'Malley's from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Right? Okay. I know, you're supposed to get the read right. So he should have stopped trying. He was trying to figure out what he was supposed to do on a Friday. So stop thinking. Head down to Capone's nightclub in downtown Fort Lauderdale, where you'll find DJ Scepter mixing in the lounge. So you can start dancing and start drinking with DJ Scepter every Friday from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. Ladies, you get to bring your sexy. Fellas, you bring your swag. Listen, don't be like I just did. I'm bumble and fumble all over the place. It gets down in Capone. But listen, wait, there is more. Trying to figure out what to do on a Wednesday? Find DJ Scepter at O'Malley's from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Still more. What about on a Thursday? Bring the family to dine while DJ Scepter helps pass the time at Tijuana Taxis in Coral Springs from 9 p.m. to 12 a.m. DJ Scepter playing everywhere you want to be. Birthdays, weddings, bar mitzvahs, quinceañeras, bachelor and bachelorette parties. DJ Scepter puts a real touch on everything. For reservations, go to bookings at djscepter.com. Thank you, and we are back. And listen, I know things don't always go as smoothly as you kind of want them to, right? Like, things happen, things go awry, things go astray. It's just like when you're a college student and you have no clue what to do. Like, just got out of school and you're looking for a way to get your foot in the door. Well, look no further. Just go to internship.com, input some basic info, and booyah, instant access to thousands of internships and other paying jobs all across all 50 states in just moments. Prepare for tomorrow by searching today in internship.com. That's internship.com, a Chegg company. So, getting back to what we were saying, welcome back. This is MyT Sports Minute. I am still your host, Talent T. Taylor, and the T stands for tsunami. I'm gonna have some fun with this. We're gonna have some fun with this. So, Stephen Curry. So, as we said, Sean Livingston gets himself ejected with just about 2 minutes to go in the half. And I'm gonna say it to you real honestly, this is about the time that I started like clunking out, because I didn't recognize this in the first time I watched it yesterday. I didn't see this. I had to rewatch this today to notice this. So now we come out the half, and the game is still back and forth. Right. Third quarter comes out, and Stephen Curry starts to find his swag, and he informs everybody listening and everybody watching that he's back. And then the game ends. And have you watched this game? I really hope you guys have watched it, because I don't want to do this, but I told somebody that they needed to watch this game to its full wholeheartedness, because it was not something that you would want to miss. You was gonna witness greatness. Not only does Stephen Curry come back in a game that he was only expected to play 25 minutes. He ends up playing just about, 35 minutes, 40 minutes? Something odd like that. Ends up putting up 40 points. Scores 17 points in overtime, which is the most points scored ever by a player. Let's let you know. For reference or comparison, and I didn't look this information up. I heard this today. If you look at all the games that the Heat and Toronto played in overtime, only one time did they combine to score over 17 points. So now, folks, now, we come to the segment of the show that is so long overdue maybe slightly burnt. So, within this past week as well, we've also had the NFL draft. And we're gonna do a quick draft recap, as interesting things happen. And I'm gonna tell you, very quickly, as I told you last week, the ultimate winners of that of the first round, and I don't even know if I should say the first round, because there was some very interesting things that happened. But definitely, the guys that I thought were the biggest winners were probably the Cowboys. And it was for everything that I said. Put a dynamic playmaker, somebody that's supposed to be a dynamic playmaker, besides two other dynamic playmakers, and while your dynamic playmaking quarterback deteriorates, you have young dynamic talent surrounding him. The first pick of the NFL draft, the LA Rams choose quarterback Jared Goff. And they needed a quarterback. They needed a quarterback, because it's been well known for the Rams for a while that they've had a solid defense, a lot built around what they got from RG3 and that whole entire Washington trade. But they're looking to start building an offense. And so they start running through the rest of their draft. And they look for ways to help out their quarterback. With their second pick, they pick a tight end. 6'6" tight end. And the only thing about him is that, what was it, Tyler Hybee? Is that he has injury issues. So we're going to see about him. And this is and I said, when I say their next pick, they didn't have a pick again until the fourth round. So this is their fourth round, 110th pick of the draft. Then they also had another pick in the fourth round, and what they do is they find a wide receiver for their quarterback this time. Then they go out again. This is their 6th round pick. They find a 6'5" tight end. See? And then they add a little bit back to see if they could add something on to their defense. Add an inside linebacker. He's just really going to be there more for the practice squad to see if there's anything that he can do and see where he can line up at. And in the 6th round, they found another wide receiver. So, on top of the number 1 pick, who was a quarterback for the LA Rams, they get him a 6'6" tight end. They get him a 6'5" tight end. They get him a wide receiver. I see them addressing, like I said, and this is to add onto the few pieces that they have. Now, what you do is that you start adding numbers and commodities in there, so now you can start having competition and start seeing if you're able to weed some people out and find some talent somewhere, because they're going to need to. The number 2 pick of the NFL draft, Philadelphia Eagles pick quarterback Carson Wentz. And they went all over the place, the Eagles did. They got a guard, offensive guard, to obviously help protect the quarterback. And he's actually a decent pick, because I believe he was playing 3 positions in college, or has the ability to play 3 different positions. So you're going to get him all over the place, and you're going to get him hopefully starting. They got a running back. This is in the 5th round. And this is a running back that can do some receiving out the backfield, because if I'm not mistaken, isn't DeMarco Murray gone, or is DeMarco Murray still there? I'm unsure. We'll look into this. And they find him an offensive tackle, they find him a cornerback, they find him a free safety, they find him a defensive end. Right? And what I see with the offensive tackles, that, like I said, they found him a guard, somebody to protect the quarterback. Then they found him a running back, somebody he can hand the ball off to, or just possibly do any kind of work. Then you say they find him an offensive tackle, somebody else to protect the quarterback. Then cornerback, and then you get it, and then so you see them cornerback and free safety as they try working out a couple of those skill positions, and then another defensive end. And defensive end that they picked up in the 7th round, he is said to be some athletic freak, and he had off-field issues. So he may have just fell, and Philly just picked him up where they picked him up at. And at the very last pick, they picked up inside linebacker. We're gonna skip all the way down to the picks that matter. With the number 10 pick in the draft, the New York Giants pick cornerback Eli Apple. And for me, this is a great move for one simple thing. The name Apple, and it's another Eli. If he does great, we're gonna call him the Big Apple, and if he stinks, we're gonna call him the Rotten Apple. Like, whoever signed him did that strictly for PR purposes, because I don't know if that was a need for them. I mean, it was a need for them. I don't know if that was the best possible player, but it definitely was a need, especially in a division where you're talking about going up against the Des Bryants and the DeAndre and the Deshaun Jacksons of the world. You're gonna need somebody. You're gonna need corners that can keep on covering. But after that, they went pretty well. I mean, they needed a wide receiver, so they got him. So they got another weapon to go alongside Odell Beckham and what should supposedly be Victor Cruz, Sterling Shepard. And you understand, like, based on the simple fact that if Victor Cruz and ODB, Old Dirty Player, I should say ODP, is on the field together, that should automatically open up things for guys like Sterling Shepard. So we should see, like, Sterling Shepard's, I think, success is going to be predicated not only on his health, but the health of, obviously, the people that he lines up beside. Next, in the 3rd round, number 71 pick, 71st pick, they pick up, what was it, safety, Thompson, Brissett, I'm sorry, Thompson, safety, out of Boise State, ha, and he was a need, he was another need, he was a need for them, and I think anything safety is a need, it's a good 50. He said he's a good 50-50 player. The ball up in the air, he has good ball hawking skills. It works. That's a need. Once again, you're talking about Dez and Deshaun. You're talking about cover and over the top. Cover and over the top. Cover and over the top. Giants needed that. Outside linebacker with the next pick that I was in need. They're gonna test out a running back with their 5th round pick. But he's a weapon. And this is how I'm judging it. See, with their first pick in the 1st round, they got a need. Cornerback was a need. Then you get a wide receiver in the 2nd pick, and that's a weapon. Then you go out and you get a safety, and that's a need. Then you get an outside linebacker, and that's a need. Then you get a running back, and that's a weapon. Then you get a 6'5" tight end in the 6th round, and that's another weapon. So now, not only did you get needs to cover up defense, but you also got a whole bunch of weapons for Eli Manning to try out with. And like I said, and anything extra that you can put onto the field beside Odell Beckham and possibly a Victor Cruz is only gonna be to the benefit of Eli Manning and Odell Beckham and Victor Cruz and any one of these tight ends or wide receivers that they picked up. You know we about to have a Prince moment, right? I hope you guys realize this. Next we have the Dolphins. And the Dolphins had the number 13th pick of the draft. And the Dolphins may have had probably one of the best, and outside of Dallas, obviously. Actually, I want to say like a lot of teams actually did pretty well. They had another interesting night in their own right, where they picked up a guy that 20 minutes before he was drafted, a video of him goes viral. Of him hitting a gas bomb.
Smoke weed every day.
Which forces him to drop all of these spots. To fall right into the Dolphins' lap at number 13. Are we surprised that the Dolphins would pick a pothead? Nah. We seen the great Ricky Williams, and we see what he does there. If you go to Dolphin Stadium, you smell what's illuminating, just flowing off of that arena, as you spiral up and down or spiral down that ramp. So I'm not surprised, but also that wasn't a need for them, but it was the best talent available, and you can't teach that. You can't stop that. You can't knock that. Even as a Jets fan myself, you can't knock getting the best player available, the best talent available. And so now they get a 6'5" defensive tackle for, I guess, peanuts for what he would have been worth. And with the possibility of giving him an incentive-based contract based off his supposed off-field issues. Like, that can always haunt him, always follow him. But right after that, the Dolphins have had what I considered a pretty decent draft. And like I said, who's to hear to say how things are going to work out or how these people are going to really break themselves down? But what I say is that how many needs are you getting and how many weapons are you adding? Needs and weapons, needs and weapons, needs and weapons, needs and weapons. Because if you just pick an arbitrary, like, okay, so let's run it down. With the very next pick, right, or their second round pick, they get a cornerback, Xavier Howard, out of Baylor. That's a need. So that's 2 picks they've done right. Next, in the third round, they get running back Kenyon Drake out of Alabama. That's a running back. They just lost their running back. What's his name? Miller or whatever his name is? That's a need. 4th round pick. Wide receiver out of Rucker. And 6 foot, 211 pounds. Pit bull is kind of... That's a weapon for your young quarterback to help with whatever offensive weapons that you currently have now, because Miami can use all offensive help that they can possibly get. Next, they get the fullback out of Penn State, and not fullback, but you get the strong safety out of Penn State, and he's a guy that has a good football IQ. So that's probably their first non-need, kind of a iffy pick, but it's a safety. You can never have too much help with the pass game, for this is becoming a passing league. And anytime somebody has a good football IQ, that's something that you have to look out for, like, because having a good IQ is something rare when it comes to football players. And also their ownership, their management, and their GMs, as their next pick is a 5'6" wide receiver. I guess he's out of Texas. I guess he's gonna do kick returns for them. Like, I don't know whatsoever. Then next they get the quarterback out of West Kentucky, and then a tight end out of UCLA. No need for a quarterback. Tight end is a weapon. Still needing possibly any kind of linebackers. I guess they're going to address any linebacker need that they have in the free agency. But they need something. But listen, the Dolphins have the opportunity to have one of the better defenses in the league. Like, you now put Tonsil up there with Awake and Ndamukong Suh, and you just keep adding. And I'm telling you, that defense, that front line of that defense is probably one or two pieces, probably one solid piece away now from them being a dominant front line. And also, they mentally have to get it together. They have to stop doing that cocaine down here. Like that's not gonna help at all, man. It's not gonna help at all, man. Not at all. You have to stop putting the butt up your nose. Stop putting the wind in your system. Okay, put it in your lung. You can't. So now the Dolphins come off the board, and with the number 19 pick in the draft, the Bills select. And before we get into the Bills, this is Rex Ryan's era, right, of football in Buffalo. So, what I'm curious to see ahead of time, and I want you to even think about it. So we're going to take a moment to think about this. Out of his 7 picks, how many do you believe is going to be defensive players? Because this is Rex Ryan. At the end of the day, this is Rex Ryan. And we know how Rex loves him some defense. So, with the number 19 pick, the Buffalo Bills and Sexy Rexy Ryan picks defensive end, Shaq Diesel. Sorry. Not Shaq Diesel. We know it's not Shaq Diesel. I mean, he did put on the time machine, and he's trying to come back, trying to make a couple more millions, But no, Shaq Lawson, defensive end, and this helps them because he's an edge rusher, and this helps them even more because not only is that a need, ultimately let's get that out the way. That is definitely a need. The Bills surprisingly happen to be one of the worst, one of the worst defensive teams in the league this year. So, surprisingly, under Rex Ryan's tutelage, they're gonna need a lot of improvement there. So, they start off with Shaq Lawson, who, if more than anything else, not even just a pass rusher, but he's definitely a name, and he is definitely a boom of a pick. Next, they go inside linebacker, Reggie Ragland, out of Bama. Next, they go defensive tackle out of Ohio State. That's 3 so far. Adolphus Washington. And then, they finally address some offense. But oddly, they address some offense as they pick the quarterback out of Ohio State. Which I guess, you know what? I don't know if it's more to push Tyrod Taylor a little bit more so he can make sure he solidifies that spot and know that it's not really that spot isn't really just for him for the taking, but also challenge Ezekiel Manuel. Yeah, challenge Ezekiel Manuel, and like I said, keep Tyrod Taylor and possibly challenge him. So it looks like Buffalo may have a complete open quarterback challenge this season, and they may not be the only team that has an open quarterback challenge in that division or in that division. So let's not chuckle, let's not sneer. Look over here, look over there. They're still in a much better quarterback position than the team I'm talking about, though. So I'll take Tyrod Taylor over what is our 3 current options right now. Next, they get a running back, which is good because you really don't need one there. but he's one of those guys that slipped only because of his injuries. So if he doesn't have to take on a lot of those reps, and you're basically giving those to LaShawn McCoy, and he's just playing backup. And if he can be as semi-explosive a third of the time as LaShawn McCoy, then that's kind of a win-win. And then next they get a wide receiver from TCU that used to be some track star, and basically he's just some speedster, which is good when you have a guy like Tyrod Taylor, and you have a guy like LaShawn McCoy, and you have a guy like Percy Harvin, if they still have Percy Harvin, because you have to remember this team has a lot of speed on their offense that they for some odd reason is just not quite clicking yet. That may help. And then to round it off, he gets a cornerback out of USC. So out of 7 picks, he picks 4 defensive players, and out of the 4 needs that they probably had, the four biggest needs, they addressed 3 of them. And sometimes when I see cornerback, safety, I'm like, you may have addressed that same issue too. It all depends on how this player can work out. And last but not least, nope, I'm joking. Not last but not least, but with the 20th pick in the NFL draft, the New York Jets pick Darren Lee. And Darren Lee is automatically, it's a need. Outside linebacker. Somebody to help get to the quarterback, as we constantly keep needing help in these positions, as we just lost, probably one of the more consistent and better, defensive linemen that you can think of. So anything that we can use now to add more pressure to try to get to this quarterback is exactly what we're going to need. So first of all, we get outside linebacker, Darren Lee, huge need. Next, they get the quarterback from Penn State, Christian Heckenberg, 6'4", 223 pounds. And with the Jets' current situation, not knowing if Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to come back, and even if Ryan Fitzpatrick does come back, you still need to know who's going to be the quarterback after him. So yeah, I'm all for this. When you right now, because all you really have on that roster now is Geno Smith, Bryce Petty, and the quarterback that you just drafted, Christian Heckenberg, because you still don't know what Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to do. So I like it, and it also wasn't the knucklehead that I thought they thought they was gonna pick up at quarterback. The third pick of the draft, or their 3rd round pick, number 83. The Jets pick another outside linebacker out of Georgia, Jenkins. It's another guy that had a high football IQ. So we'll see. You know how that goes. We know how that goes. It's either going to be hit or it's going to be missed. But so far in the beginning, they've picked up, first 3 picks, they picked up 2 offensive linebackers. Next, they pick up a cornerback to try to help them cover. And this guy may even be a guy that, at cornerback, that sits back and learns from Darrelle Revis for a couple years while he plays special teams. Next, they pick the offensive tackle out of South Carolina, and that's a need, Brandon Shell. 7th round pick, they get Edwards. And he's going to be a punter. Edwards is your punter, the 7th round pick, and he's probably going to start. Let's just put it this way. Edwards is going to start. And the reason he's going to start because our kicking situation in New York was dreadful last year when it came to punting. Now you remember all those botched kicks and poor field position he was getting. So he's most likely going to start. He is probably the closest thing to a guaranteed starter as we probably have in this whole entire draft. And last but not least, the last pick, they pick up a 6'2" wide receiver out of Clemson. And he's probably also going to sit back and learn for a while. We'll see. But he'll be behind guys like Brandon Marshall and Eric Decker. Other 6'2", 6'3" guys that he can learn how to be big, learn how to use learn how to use his body. You know what I mean? Learn how to create space. Learn how to be space. Learn how to be mass. The Jets, if you say they have 3 out of 4 needs, they address. If they have 4 needs, they address 3 out of 4 needs. But like I said, wide receiver's a weapon. Punter, they definitely needed. Offensive tackle was a need. Cornerback, it's just that kind of league. And outside linebacker. Yeah. And quarterback, that was a need. Yes, quarterback was a need. And now officially, last but not least, before we close up the show, we get to the no good, dirty, stinking, cheating Patriots and their pick. And with the first pick, the New England Patriots first round pick is nobody. Because they're no good, dirty cheaters, they didn't have a first round pick. And so we'll just go through the rest of it. And for the second round pick, they picked the cornerback. For the third round pick, they picked the offensive guard, actually, let me rephrase this. For their third round pick, they cheated and got an offensive guard, defensive tackle, and the backup quarterback. And for the fourth round pick, they picked up a wide receivers, and the no good cheaters didn't have a fifth round pick. And for the sixth round pick, they cheated once again and managed to get an outside linebacker, inside linebacker, and an offensive guard. And then no good cheaters picked up a 6'2" wide receiver in the seventh round. So, with no number one pick, somehow these no good rotten cheaters managed to have 9 picks. And I'm allergic to BS. This is our show. Thank you guys for listening. I told you we was gonna have a little bit extra time. We got the draft out the way. Got to talk about a little bit about the NBA. Like I said, man, these games have been crazy. San Antonio up 3-2. Not San Antonio, but Oklahoma City up 3-2 against San Antonio. That was the only game that's playing today. Cleveland is already sitting at home resting. Golden State is up 3-1 against Portland. And Miami is tied with Toronto. And Drake, as he makes another hit. Just like this.
Oh man. Not again.
So, you know what time it is. It's about that time. Once again, I want to thank you guys for listening. Thank you. Stay tuned. Stay blessed. And don't stress. And also stay tuned for the championship game location for the United Football Federation of America's league.
Sorry, boys. All the stitches in the world can't sew me together again. Lay down. Always knew I'd make a stop there. But a lot later than a whole gang of people thought. Last call for drinks. Bars closing down. Sun's out. Where we going for breakfast? Don't wanna go far.
Don't forget to check me out.
Rough night.
Facebook, MyT Sports.
Tired, baby.
Twitter, MyT Sports.
Tired.
SoundCloud, MyT